Hey gang, Kevin here, Life22, and it's been a hot minute since I intended on putting this one out. I finished her back in, I think the end of July, early August. Oh, the end of August, sometime in August I finished this one. Oh, you know what? Did I finish this like back in like June or July? Yeah, so, because right now I'm in the middle of reading Elon Musk's biography, which is really good. So, thanks. Shout out to Jeremy Boring for recommending that one. That was good. Still in the process of that. That'll be next. But this book right here is called Family Unfriendly. It's by Tim P. Carney. It's really good. It was really, really good, actually. Just pointing out things that we all kind of know, but we don't talk about, right? Like what? Like think about, you run into the grocery store, right? And you take your kids in and you go grocery shopping and just like you forgot something on the counter, or like you grabbed your bags out of the cart and then you have to run back to like the front entrance of the store to grab something. You're like, oh man, I left my keys hanging up. So you see it like, or whatever, but you left the car unlocked. So you get the kids in, or whatever it happens to be, you had to run back to get. And it's like you're in the store for 2 seconds, right? But you have your kids in the car. Windows are down, you're not in the sun, it's an overcast day, right? But like people are so fearful nowadays about just doing anything wrong with their kids. And it's like, and it's not even like, do you think your kid's gonna die in the 2 seconds it takes to run into the house, right? Maybe you went grocery shopping and you pull up at your house and you like leave one of your kids in the car as you're just unloading the groceries, right? And because you're gonna go out in like 2 seconds, you're just like, I gotta get this ice cream in the freezer, whatever it is. And most people are not concerned that their kid's gonna die, which is very unlikely what will happen, right? Like, because they're like, why would I think that? Like, it's like, oh, I left my kid in the car. Like, well, the probability of them getting hit by a meteor, like, is very nil. And then, but like, we're supposed to be paranoid about that. And it's like, you actually worry that someone's gonna walk along and then like call like Child Protective Services, and like that's where our society's gotten to when like. And I've experienced this myself because I was telling the missus, I was like, why don't we let the kids walk to school? Like in my dad's generation, like he started walking to school at like 3 and 4 years old. Like he would walk to like the local like Catholic school, right? And that was something that like that was common. Everybody did it. And so for like all of human history up until like my dad was a kid, right? Then all of a sudden I became a kid and it was like unfeasible. It was just not heard of. You can't let your kid walk to school. They could get raped. It's like they could get kidnapped. It's like, yeah, but the same number of kidnappers are there today as they were when my dad was a kid. And before that, and before that, and before that. And with technology, everybody's got a damn Ring doorbell on their front porch. So it's like if my kid went missing, they can triangulate missing kids within, in no time flat, especially if they know point A to point B. Like, and especially if you start teaching your kids young. Otherwise, now your kid's 13 years old, still can't even walk down to the school by himself. So, but I was telling her that, and, obviously it was a big deal with Quinn starting to go to the middle school this year. She's going to start walking. And I was telling the younger boys, I was like, you know what, I should make you guys walk. But then here's the issue. It's not that I don't trust my boys. If I showed them how to do it and I walked them to school a couple times, I would be afraid that somebody at the school would call. And then if you talk to people at the school, they're like, people walk to school all the time. It doesn't matter if they're walking a mile or whatever. But like, you still have one parent that could call. And next thing you know, you have Child Protective Services at your house, or you let your kid walk to school unsupervised. It's like... So anyways, it's tangent. But this book talks about that. It talks about helicopter parenting, how it's ruining kids. How, and we'll go into chapter by chapter, how helicopter parenting is ruining kids, how our communities and cultures are like anti-family. And he talks about like pickup leagues for like at churches and stuff. He's like, we start pickup baseball games. The kids want to play in. If kids don't want to play, they don't have to play. But at least then you're not like one of those competitive parents. And he goes into the competitive sports fields and stuff where like your job as a parent now is like, I got to get my kid to this thing. And it's like the likelihood of them being really good at it is very slim. And you put a lot of undue stress on your child. And you're also like not letting them self-monitor themselves. And so what they did was they created these things through their church that allows them to be able to create that community that once existed, where it's like, he's like, my wife, she left me with the kids for 4 days because she had to drive like to the other side of town, all that week to help, like another parent whose like husband had cancer. And it's like, they're taking care of other people. Like, she's helping out with the kids and house chores because that's what communities do. And it's like, or when they have picnics at church and stuff, like, or just picnics in general, like the moms and dads can, hang out in their different cliques and BS and drink a beer and let the kids just run the neighborhood till the streetlights come on. And then like they self-police. And if you're not there and your kid does something bad, another parent, you expect them to parent your kid for them, because it takes a village to raise a child. Not, and that's how it is, It's like, you don't expect some other parent to spank your kid, but you expect them to do what they should to like step in and not be afraid that like, ooh, I can't parent somebody else's kid. Like, no, we expect it, because if it was your kid at our house, you'd want us to do the same thing. And he talks about a lot of that stuff, and it's really kind of awesome how just that these things get started, and like how our society is kind of like just fallen by the wayside with promoting people to have families, promoting people to grow big families, promoting people to let their kids be individuals. Like, yeah, you don't let them just like do whatever they want, but like you've got to you can't micromanage your kid and helicopter your kid, because otherwise your kid is going to grow up to never grow up. Your kid will always be a child with no there's no self-respect amongst a child who's like constantly looking to their parents for everything, because then they're going to come to you for their entire life for everything, because they don't know any better. It's the devouring mother syndrome, right? The mother that wants so well to protect their kids that they actually are doing a lot of harm by not letting their child experience the world. Because yeah, there's a lot of things that can devour your kids out there, but there's also a lot of things that can that by you doing it can devouring your kid's ability to become an adult at some point in the future. And he gets into that in this book. And so like obviously they start with the opening credits, they go to the dedication, there's the epigram, let's see here, the preface, Friday Night Lights, and then he kind of talks about just, a day in like church pickup league that just goes into like parents and kids hanging out, everybody as a community, and the kids do their own thing and the parents do their own thing, and like nobody gets hurt, everybody's happy, kids are learning to interact with one another in a still somewhat supervised but less supervised situation where they can grow up to become stronger individuals. And then have lower ambitions for your kids, so don't jump right into that. Hey parents, leave your that's chapter 1. Hey parents, leave your kids alone is chapter 2. Like, don't be right up your kid's butt. Like, don't be on top of them every second of the day. Give us walkability in our streets. That's chapter 3. And he kind of talks about like how hard it is to buy a home nowadays. Most homes are designed without children in mind. Most landlords don't want kids because kids create messes. Most people, it just talks about how like cities are trying to make everything walkable, but then they don't want it to be walkable and having family activities and stuff. There's just a lot of different things to that, and he gets into that in chapter 3. It takes a village. He kind of talks about how like, sometimes you have to do some, raise some other people's kids, in the moment, because you expect them to raise yours in the moment, because you're not always going to be around. What killed the second baby boom? He talks about just, cultures, society. He talks about people, we can't afford a baby bust. That's chapter 6. Should Uncle Sam subsidize moms and dads? Israel, fruitful garden, and the wealthy world. Post-human, our tech and how it has changed us. The mystery of sex recession. We need a family-friendly feminism. Feminism nowadays is, a woman needs a man like a man needs a bicycle. 1 second, guys. How can I help you, Lockman?
Oh, the washing machine's done.
Okay, I'll get to it in just a second, dude.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, I think that's the old adage of feminism in the 80s and 90s, maybe the 70s. It was a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle, right? Well, and that whole thing is causing people to not have children. It's kind of going against what biologically is innate. So, Lennox, I'll be right with you, Mitty. Okay? You should quit your job. I believe there he kind of talks about like, homeschooling your kids. It's not for everybody, but it definitely is he brings up some good points in there. A culture of sterility, a civilization of sadness. And I believe one of these chapters, I believe he touches on this whole, like, the dinks, the dual income, no kids. I don't think he uses that vernacular, but he does refer to all these people like dog culture. He actually brings up in the book New Milford, Connecticut, which is where I grew up, and he had he interviewed a couple residents there and the principal at John Pettibone Elementary School, which I believe is closed up now because the population has dropped significantly. And all these different things are in these, and he references back to different things. It's just a really good book. I highly recommend it. He's got his acknowledgments and his end credits. The book itself, I listened to them, but the book itself it's a measly, oh, come on. Can't you give me any details? Read more. Oh, it's 11 hours and 39 minute read. Listen, it's well worth it. It's narrated by the author, at least on Audible it is. How our culture has made raising kids much harder than it needs to be. It spells everything out and it makes it so simple. And you're like, wow, where have we gone in this world? Like, why is it this, this much of a headache? But he produced it and released it on March 19th. So it was just a really good listen. I highly recommend it to everybody. Family Unfriendly by Tim Carney. Can
I do a podcast with you?
Sure. You want to say hi to the people?
Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
That's Lennox. He's the littlest one. 19 days, right? 18 days? How old are you going to be?
6.
Yeah, he's going to be 6. So, but, let me finish this up and I'll be right with you, okay?
Okay.
Maybe we'll do a podcast a little later, okay?
Can I maybe play on Walk and Guide?
Maybe in a little bit, okay? We got some work to do, okay?
Okay.
All right, gang. Well, it was nice talking with you. I hope you try the book out, and we will see you guys next time on Life22.